The Galactic Council had seen many species rise to prominence across the stars, but none quite like humanity. When Lisa Chen stepped onto the obsidian floor of the council chamber, every ambassador fell silent. She wasn't there as a diplomat. She was there as a mother. "The children are non-negotiable," Lisa said, her voice cutting through the vast hall like a blade through silk. Ambassador Velthor, a towering Kryn with scales that shimmered like oil on water, leaned forward. "Human, you misunderstand." "The cubs, children," Lisa corrected, steel in her tone. Velthor's mandibles clicked in what might have been irritation. "The young ones you recovered from the Syndicate vessel are prisoners of war. They belong to 17 different species, many of whom are our enemies. Protocol demands they be separated, interrogated, and over my dead body." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien languages. Lisa stood unmoved, her combat boots planted firmly, her worn jacket still bearing scorch marks from the rescue mission. Behind her, through the translucent doors, 43 small shapes huddled together in the waiting area. Luis Martinez watched from his position by the door, his hand resting casually near his sidearm. He'd served with Lisa for 5 years, fought beside her on a dozen worlds, but he'd never seen this particular fire in her eyes. This wasn't soldier Lisa. This was something far more dangerous. "The human speaks out of emotion," hissed Ambassador Srathi, her serpentine form coiling. "These cubs carry intelligence. They've witnessed syndicate operations. They must be debriefed by their respective governments." Lisa took 3 steps forward. "Those kids, the oldest is 9 standard years, were locked in cages. In cages so small they couldn't stand. Some of them haven't spoken since we found them, and you want to hand them back to governments that either sold them to the Syndicate or couldn't protect them in the first place." "There are procedures," Velthor insisted. "Screw your procedures." Lisa's hand slammed on the council table and several ambassadors flinched. "I'm invoking Article 7 of the Human Integration Treaty. Humanitarian intervention." The chamber went deathly quiet. Luis suppressed a smile. She'd done her homework. Ambassador Quellon, a crystalline being whose voice chimed like bells, spoke carefully. "Article 7 has never been invoked for this scale of intervention. You're claiming protective custody over 43 alien children? I'm claiming their children first, alien second," Lisa replied. "And human law is very clear about child protection. They stay with me until we find safe homes, real homes. Not cells, not interrogation rooms, not re-education facilities, homes. Impossible," Velthor declared. "We cannot allow a single human to dictate." The doors hissed open. 43 children of 17 different species stood at the threshold. At the front, a small Kryn cub, no more than 4 years old, gazed up at the assembled ambassadors with enormous golden eyes. Behind her, they'd arranged themselves in 2 neat lines. Smallest in front, tallest in back. Lisa had said only 2 words to them before entering. "Stay close." They'd formed a military march behind her. The Kryn cub stepped forward, her tiny claws clicking on the floor. She looked at Velthor, then back at Lisa. Then she reached up and took Lisa's hand. One by one, the others moved forward. A Srathi hatchling no bigger than Luis's forearm. A Quellon juvenile, her crystalline structure still cloudy with youth. A Vexian pup with 3 legs, the 4th lost to whatever horror he'd endured. They flowed around Lisa like a tide, small hands and paws and tentacles finding her arms, her legs, her jacket. The smallest one, a Thryn barely old enough to walk, raised his arms up. Lisa bent down and lifted him without hesitation, settling him on her hip as naturally as breathing. "They've bonded with her," Quellon said softly, wonder in her chiming voice. "In 3 days they've imprinted on her as their protector." Velthor's scales rippled with something that might have been distress. "This is unprecedented. This is humanity," Luis said from his position by the door. His voice carried across the chamber. "You wanted to know what makes us different? This is it. We see a kid in trouble. We don't check their species first. We just move." Lisa stood surrounded by 43 children from across the galaxy, each one holding on to her like she was the only solid thing in a universe gone mad. "I'm taking them to the human colony on Kepler Station. We have families there, human and otherwise, who've already volunteered to foster. We have counselors, doctors, teachers. We have people who will see them as children who need help, not intelligence assets to be exploited. And if we refuse?" Velthor asked, though his voice had lost its edge. The Kryn cub, the one holding Lisa's hand, looked up at her ambassador and spoke her first word since the rescue. She saved us. She stays with us. Around the chamber, translators rendered the simple statement in 100 languages. Belthor's great head lowered. I withdraw my objection. One by one, the other ambassadors followed suit. There will be oversight, Quellon insisted gently. But the children may remain in human custody until appropriate arrangements are made. Lisa nodded once, curt and professional. Then she looked down at the small faces surrounding her, and her expression softened into something Lewis had rarely seen. Hope. All right, she said quietly. Let's go home. As they left the council chamber, the children maintained their formation, 2 neat lines marching behind their protector. Lewis fell into step beside Lisa. You know this is going to change everything, he said. Lisa adjusted the Thryn cub on her hip. Good, some things need changing. Behind them, 43 children marched toward a future they'd never thought possible, following the human who'd taught them the most important lesson in the galaxy. That sometimes, the strongest force in the universe wasn't weapons or technology or political power. Sometimes, it was simply someone willing to say stay close and mean it.